Hello guys, and welcome to another Discord.js tutorial. We're doing version 13 Discord.js now, as version 12 is now over. And we all know how fun updating is, and it's going to be a fun one. At this current moment in time, we're coding a tutorial bot at the same time as I'm doing that. Well, anyways, today we're going to be doing an event handler. The event handler handles all the events for us, so that way we don't have to keep editing the index.js file, because that will get annoying after a while, because we're doing this all in console, if you guys didn't notice. So we're in this console today as well, and I'll zoom in here in a few minutes here to the console. But I did want to mention something, that the event handler should have been possible in version 12. It still works in version 12. Just put version 12 stuff in it if you decide to follow along this event handler for version 12. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so now that I'm zoomed in, I'm going to enter the config real quick because I want to add something to it. So I want to add a thing called version to this, because now we can have versions. I'm going to call this like I do for my I don't have Notepad. So we're going to call this version like this. This is how I do my version handler, and I'll explain that right now. So this one that I'm highlighting is major updates, like version 12 to version 13, or something that will break the bot if, like, say I change a command name, or I change how the command functions. This is minor changes, like I added a command, or added a few new features. And then this one's patch. Bugs, fixes, all that. But these numbers don't change during development or beta testing. If you notice, this is dev, and this is episode 2. That's going to follow the episode number. If you look at RAMs, it's on beta release right now. It's on version 1.0.0 beta 1. It's on the first beta release. I'm not sure how many beta releases I would have for RAM, but that's what it's on. And if you go here to the Jeff channel, and I do bot info, you see this is on version 9.0.0. And then we're already developing version 10 for version 13's Discord.js as well. So version 9 was short-lived version this time for RAM, but anyways, let's kind of get started. So now we have the version imported. We can save this. Now it's time to prep the index file for this. So we're going to nano into index.js. Now, if you remember, there is no index.js in here, so we're going to do source/index.js. Okay, so if you remember from last time, we started from top to bottom. We're still going to do that when editing. So now we're going to do client.events equals to, and we actually got to do a quick import. I forgot to do that here. I need to import that. Okay. Now that we have that imported, so now we have the event handler set up, the collection. We do need to import version here as well. Next, we need to set up the polls for the event handlers. Now this won't work until we set up the rest of the the event handler, but we're doing it this way as well, because then when we add the command handler and the / command handler in, it will work. require. So we're going to require .utils. Now, if you don't know what your utils file is and you're using command, you can do ls. But I don't have it made yet, so I won't be able to see that information. But you could do like ls source, for example, and it will tell you exactly what's in that folder. But right now we have nothing for that. So I'll make it as soon as I'm done doing this file. Now this hand will put in the handler's name, which is the event. So automatically we have a definition for that file. So we're going to client. And that's it. And we can just close up that box and put it. Now it's important to put this here because if you have Prettier and using Visual Studio Code, it will put this comment up one. For me, it won't be a big deal. But if you don't have that comment there, you just have the client on ready. It will push the ready right there and no error. So it's important that you put it in the right spot. Alright, so now let's go to the ready event. Now we're going to erase this. We no longer need it. Let's get some more. This there. So we're going to await. This is probably asynced. Client dot events dot get ready dot execute version. So we can pass through the version. So now we don't have to edit this unless we make a new pass through, which we most likely will in a future episode. Now time for the message event. First, we're going to start with deleting everything in the message event. Okay, now that everything is deleted, we can get started. Now this is going to get a little bit complex because I want to pass through some variables using the client variable, so I don't have to always have to pass them through the command handler either. That way, wherever the message handler has, that's all I have to pass through. So I'm going to pass through the client.config. That's going to be the configuration file for the message handler as well. So it's going to be prefix. And then we're also passing, because ES6, I don't have to do anything because that's the definition we're putting as. And we're going to do version. That's all we're adding at the current moment in time. And then we can do await client events get. Then I'm matching the names to the event. Message create. Now you can name this part wherever you want within the command, and I'll show you where you can change that at as well when we make the file. And here I'll execute it. Message client and message embed. So now we have everything we need there. And that's it for this file. So we can close out. Okay, now we need to make the events utilities. So we need to make a directory and source for utils. And now if we do ls source, you will see utils is blue, which means it's a directory. So if we do touch source utils slash event.js, and then with ls source utils here, we'll see we have a file called event.js in it, which I can nano into. Now that I'm nanoed into it, we can actually edit the code. So first we're going to start off with a const read directory sync. This is what's going to read directories. Now the event handler will be different than the command handler when we get to the command handler, which will be the next episode. So if you're trying to make the command handler, you can either watch my old command handler update one, or you can watch the next episode and know how to do it with multiple folders, because I do it differently than most with the folder system. So we're going to module that exports, and we're going to pass through that client variable. And it is important to have the client variable in this. Okay, so now we can do const events equals to read directory sync, and then we'll do dot slash source slash events slash, and then we're gonna dot filter the results, so that way we're only pulling files that ends with .js. Pretty simple. And we'll do a for let file of events. So this is a for loop. Or let pull acquire. But I guess if you're ever looking at the GitHub, I would just not. It will look different in here than it does in terminal. That is because the GitHub code is coded on VSC. So, if you guys are ever wondering. It'll be events file and then boom. So now we got the pull client dot events. This is where the event collection comes into play. We're gonna set pull dot name pull. Then we can console.log loaded event file. And we can put a quotation mark there and there. And that's it for this folder. Nice. Okay, now we need a directory for the events to go into. So we can do source / events. Now we have a directory there. So if we ls source real quick to make sure it got created, and it is. So now we can touch a file into the events for the ready event. So we'll start with the ready event. It's the easiest out of all of them. So we do nano source slash event ready event. Then we can do module the exports equals to. Then we can do name and it'll be ready. This is where you can name the events wherever you want. It can be ready, it can be whatever you want. Since the index.js file is what runs it. Async execute. Then we do version. This is the pass through. Console.log ready on version. This is why we put in the version. So that's it there. Then we go here, put this in, put that line in, and we'll end it here. So this is actually one of the easiest ones to put in. Now we can X and hit Y. Now it's time for the message create event. So now we'll touch source / events message create.js, and then we can nano into that. Then we can do module that exports equals to name. Again, name this whatever you want. Just make sure it matches inside the index.js. Message create. It's what I'm going to name. I'm going to name it after the event for the easiness and remembrance. Async execute message client and message embed. Then if, and this is where we're going to paste back in the code if we copy and paste. I do not have the code in my clipboard. I deleted it all. I'm in console anyways, even though I could paste, but I couldn't copy. Message the author.bot. So if it's that, we'll return. This is why it's easier to do it while it's early on. Or if not, message dot content dot sub. I should start content dot to lower case dot starts with prefix. But wait, it's not gonna be prefix anymore. It's client dot config dot prefix. It has changed. Dot length. Alright, there we go. Then we can do let args equal to message dot content dot sub string client dot config dot prefix. Dot length dot split. And I messed up that template, by the way, so I'm actually gonna have to go back up there and edit it here. It's not supposed to have the split. It's an if statement as well, so we need to end that if statement there. Return. And then now we can do our switch, our temporary switch, just to make the commands work. There's another good thing too. If I decided to do with like I did with RAM, where I do the switch thing even for the command handler, so each one can have its own pass-throughs, this file will make it way easier because then I'm not putting a whole bunch of code into my index.js file that I have to go through, which makes it very simpler. I'm just gonna put back in the hello command. I'm not gonna bother coding up another command in this episode. And this time I'm actually going to change it up a little bit, because some of you guys may be wondering how to do the true for the ping, and some of you guys may still not understand it. I know I said in the last video, it's just set to true, but this time I'm going to set to true, so you guys can also see how it works. And also, guys, if you guys are wondering how to do the ping like the old style, what you can do is this style. I'll show you real quick. If you want to do the old-fashioned reply, you just do @ question mark message .author.id. If you do that, and it would actually ping them like it used to, and you just do message.channel.send and just do content instead. You wouldn't have to put the and you have to put the allowed mentions in for the user, of course. But yeah, because it has to be allowed to ping them. Remember, and message reply. Then we need to break that and end the switch. Right, now the message event is done. We can actually start to spot now because it's done. Missing the argument list. This would be the Untitled Events GS4. I probably just forgot to put some in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's been in this file. I probably forgot to. I'm comparing code now. So it's .filter. Oh, it's right here. This is the only one down to consoles that you actually have to go with keyboard and fix them. Whatever. That is a correct code. The bot is on. You would see it loaded the message event and the ready event, and it says ready on version 1.0.0 dev 2. Now we can say hello, and it won't work. Let's see why. Message embed is not defined. That is because it is not defined. Let's define it. It's instead the. Oops, not touch. I hope I didn't miss anything. Okay, get that. So we need to define message embed in here. Okay, now it should work. I forgot to pass that through for some reason. Oops. It erred. Okay, so I'm running into that same issue that I ran into with Felix, where it just wouldn't do anything. So what we're going to do, I'm going to see if it works here. Unless it's with this. So what we can do is let prefix equal to client.config.prefix. And just to make sure that it's actually doing something. No, also let us know if this file is even being ran. And it may be an intent issue. I may have forgotten an intent. Oh, it's working. Okay. So that works. It knows the prefix. So it's running up to this point. After this point, though, it's not. So it starts with prefix dot length. It's correct. So it's in this file. Let's see here. Oh, it's just prefix, not length. Okay. Now we can say equals to hello, and it should run. There we go. So now it runs. It says hello, and it pinged me as well, which is nice. If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to join my Discord server. Link is down in the description. The GitHub's also in the description if you want to have a look. The code. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Oh, one more thing as well. I actually want to show you guys how to PM2 the instance too, so that you can start just having it going. So if you npm I -g, and I'm actually gonna have to sudo this one. npm I -g PM2. And you install that, you can actually run this 24/7 or whatever on a server. So if you're doing like a live coding, it's also good too if you want to be able to reboot the system and it start. I'll show you how to make it start on its own. So now that's done, we can run pm2 start source index.js. And it will start the PM2. Then I could do PM2 save. And then PM2 startup. That will automatically set up a thing to the and then yes. There, now it's created the system link. So now PM2, anytime you restart, it will automatically restart that file for you. So that way, if your machine restarts for whatever reason, your bot will come online. In the next episode, I'll be doing the command handler with the restart command as well. So that way, you can restart your bot without having to come to the terminal, even. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Alright, guys, thank you for watching. I work so hard on these videos. Here is the previous video, where you can watch the previous video. Here is the recommended video from YouTube. Here is the playlist to the series that is currently playing, and hit subscribe.